Farming Simulator, and today we're going to have a look at the camera system by VertexFloat. Now, this mod released on ModHub a couple of days ago. It is PC only, obviously, because it has scripts in it, and it's built into a whole load of the base game vehicles. Kind of hope that, like some of these other mods, as vehicles come out, it will be added to modded vehicles. I am going to show you how to add it to vehicles. It is mostly XML, but you do need to use Giant's editor, and it's depending on what you're trying to add, it's either quite easy or quite complicated. So it may be one of those jobs that's beyond a lot of people, so bear that in mind, basically. So let's have a quick look. I've got a couple of vehicles in front of me that do have cameras installed. So if we start the tractor up, and then you'll see there is an option to press the Z key to bring up the camera system. And this tractor just has a reversing camera, and you have two options. You have always on, or you can press the Z key again, and it will only be up when we reverse. So if we put it into reverse, it comes up. There we go. Or you can switch it off. It's kind of cool, you know, if you're backing up to something. If I was more organized, I would have had an implement out. You know, if you're backing up to something, you can use the camera to see where you are backing up to. And then if we jump in the combine, so again, this is a base game combine that does have the camera system installed, and if we turn it on, you'll see we have pipe cam selected first. So there is a camera on the pipe. I'm not actually sure if that visual is added by the game or not, or by the mod or not. And then if we open out, you see we move with the pipe. Very cool. You know, kind of useful, I guess, if you're trying to unload into a trailer. And then if you press left shift and K or M, we can cycle through the cameras, and we have a reversing camera as well. So how do you tell if cameras are available for a vehicle? If we go into the store, and I want to show you this one because these guys have added quite a lot of cameras to this. If we go into here, you'll see there is an option camera system. And so I'm going to put camera system yes, and we are going to buy this. And then if we jump in the Ventor and switch the camera system on, they've added 12 cameras to this mod, and I think they reflect some of the cameras you can see in the cab, but these actually work, so we can cycle through all sorts of different views of the machine. Which is pretty nuts. This is pretty nuts. Yeah, so this is a really cool mod. People are doing very clever things with Farm Sim at the moment. So I'm going to jump out of the game now, and I'm going to show you how to add a reversing camera to a tractor and a pipe camera to a combine. Now, as I said, this is not adding the reversing camera, pretty easy. Adding the pipe camera to the combine is a little bit more complex, and you may find that is beyond you. If that's the case, my recommendation is pick a base game one that has the cameras already if you really want to use them, or wait for a modder to release them. I am not going to edit vehicles for you, and any vehicles that you edit, bear in mind that you should back the mod up first. You should do this in a test save first, and you may have to rebuy the vehicle because you're changing the configuration options of that vehicle, and the one you have saved in the game won't have those set. So things to bear in mind if you do attempt to use this. If not, just enjoy the mod, the way it's set up. It's awesome. I'm pretty sure that modders will be integrating this into their vehicles as things go along. I think these guys are working on other stuff as well, so keep your eyes peeled on that. Let's jump out to the desktop and have a look at adding it to some vehicles. So we are starting out in the mods folder, obviously. If you can't find your mods folder, this is probably not a job that you should be tackling, so I'm not going to tell you where it is. Some basic tests to see if you have the skills to work this out. So got a Fent Farmer 300 that was released recently on Motto. I'm going to add a reversing camera to that. Then we'll come back and we'll add a pipe camera to this John Deere combine that I've got. So first thing you want to do is go into 7-zip and unzip it. And then back up the original, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to delete it because I don't need this for a particular save. And we're going to go into the mod. And we want to open up the i3D file and the XML file. So you're going to need Giants Editor and you're going to need something like Notepad++. So the first thing you need to do is work out the component of the vehicle you want to attach the camera to. Don't move the view at this point, because you can screw up your external camera. So for most vehicles, it will be the main component one that you want. So we're just going to explode that by left clicking on the plus. And now the way that I've been doing this may not be the ultimate way, but I think it works quite well. I'm going to go to create primitive cylinder. And then middle click on the, that's not what I intended it to do. Middle click on the cylinder and drag it up to the component that we want to add it to. Then click on the cylinder, and to make it visually easier, I changed it to 0.1, 5, 0.1. And that essentially gives me a massive tube to move around. Make sure you've got the cylinder selected before you move, so you don't move the camera. That gives us our nice long cylinder. Now what we're going to do is set some basic rotation angles to get it roughly right. If you set it to -45 and then set the Y to -180 or 180, either is fine. And your camera is going to be looking the wrong way down at the cylinder. Okay. Just go with me on this, and then we're just going to left click on the arrows to move it to where we want the camera to be based. Generally, I don't think you want any X translation, so I'm going to set that to 0. But what I try and do is kind of sit it so it's, so it's like on the cab. I think that kind of works, or you might sit it lower down so it's near the 3 point. And then if you rotate and do that, so the -45 gives you a 45-degree angle. The rotations don't quite work. So if you want the camera to be steeper, you actually set the angle to be steeper. So if you want it to look, down at like that, so it was really pointed down at the trailer hitch, you'd actually set that to -80. I'll show you in the XML how to set it up. I've only had a little bit of time to play with this, so bear with me. I'm showing you a way to add it that has worked for me. So basically, if you set it to -45, 180, you're going to have a camera that looks down the tube this way. So place it where you want. I'm actually going to place it somewhere different for me because I've been placing them there. I'm going to place it so that it is sitting it's sitting kind of almost in space, actually. Sort of there. Okay, so if we click on our cylinder, There we go. We might want it a little bit flatter, but we can play with that. These are the numbers that we need. So if we now go into the XML and scroll down to the bottom, I tend to stick it in before the i3D mappings start. And I'm going to go to a website now. These guys have a really good GitHub, which has nice examples of the code in it. VertexFloat have a GitHub site that is linked off of the mod hub page for the camera system mod, and if you scroll down, it includes examples of how you can set things up, and that's what I'm going to use to set up our reversing camera. So I'm going to take this chunk of XML and copy it, and we're going to paste it into the XML tractor. Just to make it look nice, I'm going to select it all and press tab to indent it. So we need to give the camera a name. I'm just going to call it the camera. I'm probably going to have spelled that wrong, and you can give it a cost if you want or not. This one is not going to have options to turn it on or off. It's just going to be there. So, you know, you could just give a nominal cost for it being installed. You could set it to 0 if you want. It's up to you. We then need to attach it to a node in the vehicle. So if we go back to the Giants editor window and select the component that we're attaching it to, which in this case was this very top level one, we can either take the index path, which is 0 arrow. I'm never sure what to call that. So we can go and find, or we can go and find that in the i3D mappings, and it's just here, which is why I put it where it is, and we can copy that and we can paste it in. We need to give it a name. Now, handily, the guys have predefined some names, so I'm going to copy this one because it's a reversing camera or rear camera. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to paste that into the name string. Field of view, so that's how wide your camera is. Looking in the examples that they've set, a lot of them are 75 degrees, so I'm going to go for that. We're going to go back to Giants editor, and we're going to select our cylinder. It's really important that you don't save this, because otherwise you're just going to have this random object in your vehicle, which you don't want. So we've got that selected, and then by setting the windows up like this, I can see both sets of information. So rotation, we're just going to take the -45 and then 0 and 0. So as I said, if you want the camera to look down steeper, technically you're decreasing the number. So if you wanted it to look almost straight down, you'd have like -70, -80. If you want it to be flatter, then, you know, -20, something like that. And then the translations we do take from the Giants editor. So that would be 0, 1.45 and -1.61. So I'm just taking these numbers and copying them into here, and that's that done. So we can just save that and reload it and see if it's worked. As I said, don't save what you've done in Giants editor. Leave it open if you want while you're getting things sorted, but don't save it because you'll get this random thing in there. So when you're finished, just close Giants editor. Reloaded the game. If when you load up you find that the mod's not available, that probably means you screwed something up. If you go check your log file, it should help you work that out. Again, if you don't know where your log file is, you probably shouldn't be tackling this. So I'm going to go into small tractors because it's a small tractor. Scroll across and you'll see that the price of the tractor is 40,000 base. As soon as we go in, you'll see it's jumped up to 40,100 because I put a £100 price on the camera system. You'll see there are no options for selecting cameras because I didn't put options in. I'll show you how to do that in the combine in a moment. So we're going to buy this little vent and tap across to it. And if we start things up, we see we get a Z key to turn the camera on, and there we go. There is our reversing camera, and it's sat about where that plate is. So, you know, probably kind of good for your, you buy a trailer. And you could use if we were in cab, say, you could choose to use your reversing camera to hook up. So there you go. That's adding a reversing camera. What we will do next is I'm going to jump back out to Giants Editor and the mod folder, and I will show you how I've added a camera, a pipe camera, to a combine. As I said, this is much more complex because we find with some combines they will have pipe options, so finding which node to hang it off can be quite difficult. I have specifically picked a combine which does not have pipe options so that I can show you the theory of doing it, and then if you want to do it to another more complex combine, you're going to have to go through and work that out. So let's jump back out to the desktop. So back in the mods folder, just to finish up the tractor that we did, I'm going to rezip it so that it's neater. So in that folder, Control A to select all, right click, 7-zip, add to zip. And then we'll select that file and do Control X to cut it and paste it back into the mods folder. And we can delete that one. So I've got this John Deere W Series combine. As I said, I have picked one that is fairly simple in that it doesn't have options for the pipe, so it's easier to find the nodes that we want to edit. We're going to go in there. I've just unzipped it. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to open up the i3D file and the XML file. And let's scroll down to the same place. And open up the i3D file because it doesn't seem to have opened. There we go. So same thing. Not going to move the camera yet because that might affect the external view camera, and we're going to find the pipe. And what I actually have done when I found this is I find the node that's used to control the dumping of crops. So if we do the same thing, expand the main component, and then I just work my way down the list until I end up with just the bit I want highlighted. So moving parts kind of makes sense. Expand that, go down, you get the pipe, and just keep expanding that. And what I've done is do it until I find the discharge node. This seems to have worked fairly well. You might want to do something slightly different. I'll leave that to you to experiment with how you want to position things. So if we go into the XML file now, and in fact, we'll go back to the website and grab the bit of code that we need. I'm actually going to come down here and we're going to do it so we can configure to have the camera or not. So if we select this bit first, go into Notepad++ and paste that in, and go back to the website and grab the bottom bit and copy that and paste it in. So this gives us an option for no camera initially, and then we're going to add a pipe camera. So do the same thing and just select this bit and paste it in and go back to the website and grab the L10N text for the pipe. We'll put that there. We're going to name it pipe cam. And we're going to say it costs £1,500. So for the node, we want to, I found the easiest way to do this is just to grab the index path of the node and copy that. I'm going to paste that in there. Field view, I'm going to do the same, 75 degrees. Rotation, I'm going to do 0, 0. Translation, I'm going to do 0, 0, 0. And then you can choose how steep you want the camera pointed down. I think I'm going to do about minus 55 for now. So that should give us a camera which is sat on the discharge node and looking down, in theory. Let's save it and find out. We've loaded up the game now, so let's have a look in the store, see if this has worked. And there we go, we've got our camera system option. It's going to cost us £1,500 to add the pipe cam on. So let's buy that. Jump in the combine. Start her up. Turn the camera on. And there we go. There is our pipe cam. So if I fold it in, drive so we're over something you'll be able to see, like this bit of grassland here, and come out, and there we go. So you might want to move it a bit, you might want to move it in a little bit. You can see actually that camera that I was saying about is installed as standard by John Deere by the looks of it. That may not even be a camera, that may be another type of sensor, I'm not sure. But there we go, so you've got a pipe cam now. Use this to get you going, and hopefully you can work out what you need to do to set things up. So that's the camera system by VertexFloat. You can go as simple as the reversing camera that I show you how to add. You can just use the base game stuff that's got them added. You can go as complex as this guy has with 12 different cameras showing you all the different work areas that are built into this insane bit of kit. I'm just curious what happens if we unfold and open everything up on this. Because it's a bit of a beast. Anyway, it's a very cool mod. I think they're working on some other bits and pieces, so keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes open for other modders. There we go, look at that. So you've got a camera right in the hopper there. It's very clever. All very clever. So if I was to assume this is... It is good. It is very good. Yeah, so I think they've got some more stuff coming. Keep an eye on ModHub, I guess. And if you found this video, click the like video useful, click the like button. Any comments or questions or suggestions or whatever, stick them below. Please work within the limits of your own capability. I am not going to edit vehicles for you. So, yeah. I will see you next time.